Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. The Brian Craig Show podcast is brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. He will never sell you a roof you do not need. If you're in the state of Florida and you need roof replacement or repair on any type of structure, residential, commercial, or municipal, Tom Laporta can help online at laportaroofing.com. Okay. Of course, all kinds of craziness has been going on, and we had these terrorist attacks, which obviously are connected. I mean, you know, the New Orleans attack and the Las Vegas attack are obviously connected. We'll go through all this in just a moment, but of course, the Biden Justice Department is saying there's no connection. Both of these guys rented the trucks, the Cybertruck in Vegas, the pickup truck in New Orleans, from the same app, the Turo app, which the Turo app is just strange to me. It, you know, for those that are not familiar with it, the best way I could describe it, it's like Airbnb, but for your car. You can rent out your own private vehicle, which seems crazy to me.
I guess if you have like a really cool car, it's a way to make money.
That's even less reason to do it. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't rent my car out to people I don't know.
That's crazy.
How does that work with your car insurance?
That you probably don't tell your insurance company. That's what I guess. I don't know.
It's a little complicated.
It seems, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't use our house for Airbnb. You hear all these horror stories. But both of them rented the vehicles that were used in the attacks with the same app, the Turo app. Mm-hmm. Both of them were in the Army. At one time, they were stationed on the same base together. Yeah. And both of them are leftist, okay? And
they both hate Trump and Elon.
And for them to say there's no connection at the Justice Department is insane. And I was talking this morning about this. See, this is a very dangerous time we're in because of the presidential transition. You know, we always have had presidential transitions, and we've even had presidential transitions during wartime, but America is under attack right now. We had these two attacks yesterday. Mm-hmm. The people that are running the Justice Department and the entire federal government of the United States are completely incompetent. And not only are they incompetent, they're lying to us that there's no connections between these guys.
Right.
And just like there's a connection between the Trump shooters, the one in Florida and the one in Butler that they deny. And when Trump comes into office on the 20th, okay, there's a transition period even then. The people that are running the FBI and all these government agencies are still going to be the same people that are running them today when Trump first comes in. It's going to take a while. His cabinet picks have to go through these confirmations, maybe a recess appointment, but that's a process. Then they have to do all this hiring and everything else. So If you think because Trump is coming in on the 20th that this is going to be resolved, it's not going to work that quickly. And, I mean, think about it. You know, I remember on 9/11, when that started to settle down, the country was very united for about 2 weeks.
Yes.
But it was really about a month.
I'd say about a month, yeah.
And people, we all had American flags on our cars, windows, and everything else.
It kind of reminded me of 1976.
Yeah, it was
the same kind of feeling during the bicentennial where there was a lot of American pride and people were being nicer to each other.
Yeah, and when that was going on, you got honesty from even some Democrats. And I remember people saying, because we had, George W. Bush had only been president for 9 months when 9/11 happened. And we were still getting over that. The 2000 recount was crazy.
Crazy year.
And when 9/11 happened, I remember a lot of people saying, even Democrats, some Democrats, not elected officials, but like people that call me on the air and stuff, they would say things like, boy, we got really lucky that Bush won Florida and won the recount. Could you imagine if Al Gore would have been president on 9/11, because it still would have happened? And I remember one guy said the only thing that would have gotten Al Gore upset is if somehow it was declared 9/11 was declared an act of environmental terrorism. Then maybe he would have been interested in like getting to the bottom of it and responding. So what I mean by all that is when we had the transition from Clinton to Bush, America was not under attack. The attack happened 9 months later. So by the time 9/11 happened, George W. Bush had his cabinet in place. They had done all their hiring. And I know Bush and Cheney are war criminals. I'm not, I understand that. But they had competent people in charge of everything by the time 9/11 happened. We may be under attack still. We don't know. We're not getting any answers. We have incompetence at every level of government. And going through a transition, it's not just dangerous and scary right now. This is the most vulnerable the United States has ever been during a presidential transition. And I'm so reluctant to tell this because I mentioned this morning about Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the 9/11 mastermind, who earlier this week had his death penalty sentence commuted by Joe Biden.
Incredible.
Now, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed he's higher up than bin Laden with al-Qaeda when it comes to 9/11, okay? Khalid Sheikh Mohammed came up with the idea for 9/11. He planned it and organized it. And he's been in Guantanamo Bay forever, for a long time. He may not be in Guantanamo now. I don't know. They might have taken him to another federal prison. I think they did. But he's been awaiting a death sentence, and Biden just commuted that to life imprisonment. And Khalid Sheikh Mohammed said multiple times, okay, that he got the idea from 9/11 from the movie Independence Day when he saw the White House blown up. And Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's on my mind.
Well, that tells me that was the target for the Pennsylvania plane.
For Flight 93.
They always said it was the Capitol, but maybe it was the White House.
Probably
because
was.
Of that film.
Mm-hmm. It probably was. And
could you imagine?
Oh my goodness! And here's I would not normally make this kind of reference for this kind of discussion, but Khalid Sheikh Mohammed said this, and 2 days before this attack, a day before his death penalty sentence was commuted, there was an episode of The Outer Limits. They brought The Outer Limits back in the 80s or early 90s. I can't remember. And there was an episode, it involved an alien attack like an Independence Day. An alien attack happened on Inauguration Day. And in the episode, it was chaos because there was a transition going on, and the new president was the opposition party than the old, and the old president's staff was in, and they couldn't respond to the attack. And I only bring that up because Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and Independence Day. But we're kind of in a situation like that now. When Trump comes in, the Biden DEI hires are still going to be in place in all these government agencies for quite some time until our people go through the confirmation process and then do their hiring.
It's scary.
So when Trump comes in on the 20th, it's not like all of a sudden, okay, we've got control. We have great investigators now and everything. That is not necessarily the case. And hopefully this attack is over, okay, hopefully that's it, but we don't know. And if it's not over, believe me, they're aware of what they're aware that this is a vulnerable time, the transition. It's probably the weakest time the government ever is in, especially when you've got the most incompetent administration in the history of the United States in charge right now. So
that's for sure.
It's pretty frightening. Tom Homan, he gave an interview today. I want to go through this article. He was on Fox today. And he sent out a pretty strong message. But here's the thing, okay? What Tom Homan's the borders are. The Border Patrol are okay. The Trump will give them an order. He'll be working with Tom Homan. The Border Patrol will do what they do. The federal agencies that are going to be involved in the deportations, that'll start. But the Justice Department and the terrorism task forces and everything with the FBI are going to be the same people that we have now. And these are people that were brought in by Comey and Wray and all these lunatics. But let me go through this. This is Tom Homan. Tom Homan, he was talking about the New Year's Day attack in New Orleans and the Cybertruck explosion in Vegas. And the thing about the Cybertruck, and I mean, this is not outside the box kind of thinking. It's obvious. They were sending a message to Elon Musk to get out of politics. That's what that was about, I think. And I'm glad that he's at Mar-a-Lago because he's safe there. Tom Homan argued in it. This is in the Daily Mail. Tom Homan argued in an interview on Fox today The attackers targeting the United States have been emboldened and shared what he expects to learn about the suspects in both New Orleans and Vegas. I think both are on a suicide mission. Both of these incidents, these men knew they were not going home.
Yeah.
See, the idea that these two incidents are unrelated, it to me is so insulting. I mean, how can they go on television and tell the American people there's no relation between these incidents?
No, I mean, I don't know, but and Senator Kennedy says he knows and he's going to come clean about it if they don't. But I'm guessing their paths crossed and they coordinated this to do together. Yeah. I mean, it's just too much of a coincidence. These things do not happen like on an everyday occurrence. So what are the odds that they're happening? Both using vehicles on New Year's Day.
Using the same app, both in the Army?
Same app, both in the military, yeah.
Biden said the explosion of the Cybertruck outside Trump Tower in Vegas is being investigated for any connections to the Louisiana attack, but officials have said they've not definitively linked the two. Homan zeroed in on the U.S. border as investigators carry out a multi-state investigation. This is just another danger this country faces because the country has been lax on national security, and groups like this have been emboldened, Tom Homan says. He expects the investigations will reveal both were U.S. citizens with prior military experience, which we're now learning is true. You're going to find that they, but this is what he said. Now, he may be getting, I don't know if he's gotten briefings yet. Maybe he is because it's getting close, right? I think this is what Homan says. I think you're going to find they both have recent foreign travel.
Oh.
Yes, and both inspired by ISIS.
Well, this will all come out under Trump.
Jabbar, that's the New Orleans guy, was killed in a shootout with police after ramming his rented truck into the crowd. After the attack, law enforcement said an ISIS flag was found, which you've seen the ISIS flag. It's all over Twitter. Homan on Thursday went off on the Biden administration over the U.S. border and argued the administration unsecured the border on purpose. He's one.
Of course they did.
Yeah, that's it.
I think we all know that. That's apparent.
It's an open invitation for those around the world who hate this country.
It's and you have to question the motivation. It's a hatred, and I think Biden does hate this country. I think he hates all of us. I think he's an angry.
Well, he's pissed that he's not going to be president anymore.
He's just a jerk.
He's mad at the world.
Yeah, but this was going on before that even happened. And I think it's also a matter of corruption, payoffs. The country's for sale. I mean, you have to ask yourself, I don't understand how liberals can defend this. I tell you, this country would be so incredible if Democrats would just all get up and move somewhere else.
Yeah.
Go to Canada, or that's too close. Go somewhere far away and just don't come back. I mean, because all the problems are from them, that we're dealing with. I would say 90% are from them, yet they'll just gaslight us and tell us either there's nothing to see here or, you guys are the violent ones.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And the guy who shot Ashley Babbitt, I promise you, was a Democrat.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just violent people.
Yeah,
when they don't get their way. They don't like not getting their way. They're control freaks. I don't understand any of this, but I really don't understand the guy in the Tesla. I mean, was he suicidal? Was he Muslim? Did he think that if he does this, he'll be some hero in the afterlife? What was the point of that? Both are ridiculous, but I don't understand why you would just sit in a car and fill it with firecrackers and explosives.
Well, maybe it went off premature. We don't know. The guy in Colorado.
That's possible.
Okay. The guy in Colorado is an idiot. I mean,
Colorado.
I mean, the guy from Colorado, the Cybertruck guy's from Colorado.
Oh, okay. So why did he go to Vegas?
And because I guess
Trump Tower was the closest one.
Trump Tower. And
I guess it's the closest one.
I'm really hoping, because there was no doubt this was a message to Elon Musk to get away from Trump and stay out of politics. I'm really hoping that Steve Bannon and the others that have been so anti-Elon Musk will lay off now. I mean, that's a why is this guy so extreme?
I mean that alone.
What was he afraid of with Elon?
That whole issue last week that was coming from the right, and I don't have to name names. You guys know with the H-1B visas. That, who knows? I could have triggered this guy. I'm not saying it's their fault because you're not responsible for the actions of other people, but we have to stay
Well,
united.
the liberals have been
be careful.
The liberals have been going after Elon too. They've had, this. Remember they were doing this thing: President Musk, Vice President Trump. They calling him an elitist because he's so rich. So the left have been after him too. So it's hard to say. The guy from the Tesla Cybertruck, his wife is like a rabid leftist, anti-Trump person on Facebook.
Well, I wonder what she thinks now because her husband's dead.
I don't know. I'm curious when we get the investigation if this is what this guy meant to happen.
I wonder if she encouraged him. I mean, did she?
We don't know anything.
Tap something into him, and you know what I mean? I'd be interested to see her involvement in this.
The guy in New Orleans' life was a wreck, right? He's divorced multiple times. He was broke. He had restraining orders.
So he felt like he was kind of suicidal.
Yeah, he was kind of like a loser. The guy in Colorado was on leave, but is still active duty Army. He's a Green Beret, Special Forces.
Something got him worked up.
I mean, and that's a lot. That's a pretty elite thing. You know, the guy in Vegas with the Cybertruck either went off by accident, or he's he's a complete idiot, because not only did he kill himself, he ignited an explosive device and kind of almost like an armored vehicle, because it protected the when I first,
the building had no damage at all, not even the doors.
When I first saw the explosion on X, when it first happened, it was the one from outside, not inside the lobby,
right? And
you could see the fireworks and everything. And my first thought was, this must be like AI, because it seems so ridiculous in front of Trump. I mean, we had this thing happen.
That to me was a symbolic.
We had this thing happen in New Orleans. And then the same day, a Cybertruck in front of Trump Tower, and then you see fireworks. Yeah. I thought that was kind of weird. And if you look at the photos and the video after it, the explosion went straight up. The Cybertruck contained the explosion. The windows didn't even break on Trump Tower.
No.
And now, if there were some people standing right next to it, they could have been severely hurt or even killed. But there was no one there. It was no doubt.
I think it's possible it was an accidental.
Well, it detonated early before he could get out. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. We don't know. But it's possible. But it was, I think what is not up to question is that he was sending a message to Elon Musk.
It was a message.
Get out of Mar-a-Lago. Get out of politics. They don't want Elon Musk around Trump.
The question is, was he working alone?
Yesterday they said the New Orleans guy had a whole team, and now they said, oh no, lone guy.
Yeah.
Come on.
Kash Patel will get to the bottom of it. And why send a message if you're just working alone?
Exactly.
You would send a message if there's more to come, if it's a warning. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You send a message like, this is just the first part, and there's more happening.
It's crazy.
If you're working alone, I don't get the point of that whole thing.
No, it's nuts.
Other than you're just completely crazy.
Now,
which obviously
I want to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support. And if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of the episode. And when you become a Patreon supporter, you get access to commercial-free editions of all of the podcast episodes, okay? And our top Patreon supporters get a live, on-air thank you shout-out. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Dale, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob and Trish Wilkerson, Christy R, and John S. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your support. And again, if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of the episode. All right, we're going to take our first break. There's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
Life is full of challenges, but what if you could turn your toughest obstacles into your greatest victories? From author Vernon Turner comes the #1 Amazon bestseller, Beyond the Limits, Finding My Purpose. In this heartfelt recap of his life's journey, author Vernon Turner shares the tools and strategies that helped him overcome the unthinkable. Along the way, he highlights the inspiring stories of 3 remarkable individuals whose journeys mirror his own. It's a guide for anyone searching for strength, resilience, and a deeper purpose in life. The author's mission is simple: to help change and save as many lives as possible. Available right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, Kindle Unlimited, and audiobook. Are you ready to break through your limits and find your purpose? Then order Beyond the Limits: Finding My Purpose from author Vernon Turner on Amazon. Looking for a podcast that delivers sharp political insight with a healthy dose of humor? Check out Reasonable Arguments, News and Nonsense. Husband and wife duo Jamie and Jennifer bring you the perfect mix of serious analysis with insight and humor. Jamie is a seasoned political expert offering reasonable conservative commentary, breaking down current events and how they impact your everyday life. Jennifer is a curious learner. She keeps things light and asks the questions you're probably thinking of yourself, from thought-provoking news to unpredictable and fun topics. Reasonable Arguments, News and Nonsense is the podcast where informed discussion meets unfiltered laughs. Catch it right now on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Rumble, and wherever you get your podcast. Reasonable Arguments, News and Nonsense. Your news, your laughs, your podcast. How would you like to lose weight? Of course you would, but how? You've tried and tried but failed. You can lose that weight. You just need the right help and guidance. And that's what you will find in the book, Eating Healthy for Life. It's the ultimate high-protein, low-calorie cookbook filled with 30 delicious recipes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as well as snacks, even healthy desserts. This book makes losing weight and eating healthy easier than ever, whether you're looking to shed pounds without effort, retain muscle while losing fat, or just feel your absolute best. Eating Healthy for Life is your new best friend. Stop starving yourself. Stop eating foods that just don't taste good. And stop wasting your time on all those fad diets that don't work. And order your copy of Eating Healthy for Life online at stan.store/Eating Healthy for Life. That's stan.store/Eating Healthy for Life. And start your journey to a healthier and happier you. stan.store.Eating Healthy for Life. Eating healthy never tasted this good.
This is Dr. Philip Appleton. I'm a chiropractic physician. I've seen thousands and thousands of patients in my career. I've been a chiropractic physician here in Pompano Beach for 40 years. We're open 6 days a week. If you have sciatica, you have bursitis, you have tendonitis, you're tired of taking the pills, the drugs, the injections, and you heard that you have to live with it. Well, there's a lot of times you don't have to live with it. I've had great success with helping people. My testimonials are marvelous with patients. They love the treatment. There's no injections. There's no medication. There's no surgery. There's none of that. It's strictly either the laser or the acupuncture I do or shockwave therapy I do. Open 6 days a week. Come in for the free consultation and be willing to look at you and help you.
Take advantage of that no-charge consultation with Dr. Appleton. Remember, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. This is another story that's just insane with Biden. I mean, Biden, he's giving a medal to Liz Cheney. No, I'm serious.
It's nuts.
President Biden.
For what?
President Biden is awarding Liz Cheney and Benny Thompson the second highest civilian honor. The Presidential Citizen Medals are being given to Cheney and Thompson for their leadership on the congressional investigation in the January 6th. Trump senior advisor Jason Miller called the selection of these awards pathetic.
It is. With attacks happening in the United States and around the world, this is how Biden is spending his time today, Miller wrote on X. Exactly. I cannot wait for this guy to be out of office. It cannot happen soon enough.
Even Brit Hume, who hates Trump like poison, all right? Brit Hume is a big Trump hater.
Yeah, he is.
Brit Hume is giving these medals to Liz Cheney and Benny Thompson. Brit Hume said it is repulsive.
It is.
Repulsive.
I don't know who the other guy is. Benny Thompson?
Benny Thompson, yeah, he was the chairman. He's the leading Democrat.
The black guy?
Yeah, he's black.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
you see, he's on TV all the time.
I know who that is, yeah, with the glasses.
You know, what I'm really hoping, and
I bet Kinzinger's upset.
Oh, he didn't get one?
Yeah, he's probably like, where's mine?
I'm really hoping that Kash Patel and Trump declassify all the January 6th information because, you know, the reason it needs to be declassified is it's still around, at least, well, what the J6 committee didn't destroy is still around, but as much information as is still available should be released because what's happened, it's been 4 years already, right? And it will be in just a couple of days. And history is written by liberal college professors. The liberal college professors write the history books. So history is written by liberals. You know, they say history is written by the victor. It's written by liberals. And the media and the historians are crafting a false narrative about January 6th. And they've been doing it for 4 years now, and there's so much documentation of it through, you know, because media reports are historical artifacts. And this is how in the future, when this time period is studied, students and historians will look back at Liz Cheney's committee and these things, and that's going to be, well, this is what happened. You know, unless what history will write is that Donald Trump led an insurrection, unless it's corrected.
It will be corrected.
And if it can't be corrected with Kash Patel and Donald Trump, no one else is going to correct it. So we need to know everything about January 6th. It's so important. You know, it wouldn't change anything with the left because, I mean, how many times have you heard me talk to a liberal who's calling me on the air and they say, he told people to go there. And I said, peacefully let your voices be heard. And even when I play the audio of President, I don't even do it anymore because it's waste. It's waste of time. Even when you play the video of President Trump saying peacefully let your voice be heard, they tune it out. Like, that's not what he said. That's not what he said because they don't want that to be what he said. So it is so, I hope it's not too late to correct the historical record. But if there's enough documentation, like I'll tell you one thing that I find, I don't believe in coincidences. Okay. I know that I really don't. In some instances, it may be possible. But I'll give you an example. The certification of elections is a very routine affair. It really is, right? It happens every 4 years. It's not that big of an event, typically. January last time it was, okay, because of everything that happened. But generally speaking, it's not. The only other time that I remember January 6th, the certification was newsworthy is in 2000 because Al Gore, who had just lost, had to certify his own defeat, right? And so that was carried. But other than that, because we had the 2000 recount went on forever. So other than that, the certification isn't even carried on television in the past. It really isn't. And if it is, nobody watches it. And one of the things I find too odd to be coincidental is that Nancy Pelosi's daughter was with her mother on that day with a documentary film crew.
Know.
Why would she be following her mother around on that day with a film crew filming a documentary movie on a routine, boring event in You understand what I mean?
Yes.
You know? So that alone, I know there's other things, and maybe out of everything that seems minor, but a lot of times, you know, when you're exposing somebody, it's the little tiny things that they screw up with that gets them busted. And I would love to know the inner workings of what led to Nancy Pelosi's daughter having a documentary film crew on that particular day for a very routine and boring event. You know, they vote on things constantly in the House, and it's boring. And so is the certification. So that's just one example. But it's
that FBI agent took out her nose ring.
Oh, finally!
I was waiting.
She must have heard me this morning.
I was waiting for the FBI to change their policy because I figured that would be happening. Like, oh, we allow them now. But those two guys knew each other. The one guy,
there was a connection.
I was reading about him. His wife was born in Mexico. She hated Trump. There's no doubt she had some influence over him and had anti-Trump bumper stickers on her car, lots of anti-Trump posts. She was a radical feminist. And was all about women's rights and body this and, pro-choice and all this stuff. And he and this other guy both served at that same facility at one point.
Fort Hood.
Fort Hood, yeah. There's no doubt that they knew each other.
Or not? It wasn't Fort Hood. Was it Fort Bragg? Maybe.
The one guy, the one guy was at Fort Bragg.
Yeah, they were both at the same fort together.
And it's amazing when you read his resume. He was on break from serving in Germany. He's fluent in French. This guy was a Green Beret. What?
Oh, he's a member? You're talking about the Cybertruck guy?
He was dead.
He's on leave from
Germany,
from the army. Yeah,
and
he's still in the army.
I am so curious what drove him to this. Obviously, he was radicalized and highly influenced and pushed. I don't think he came to this point on his very own. Mm-hmm. But what drives a person? I don't understand this. Who serves in the military for so long to just hate their commander in chief so much to do something like this? I think you're right. I think it's highly possible. We could be wrong that this thing detonated too early. Maybe he was not meant to be in that car. Maybe at the time, maybe it was supposed to be a remote detonation.
Yeah,
I mean, when you're in the military, you're a Green Beret. I would imagine you have some experience with explosives, wouldn't you, at that level? Or do you have to be in a certain department? But, you're in the military almost 20 years. I would imagine you have some experience with these things. Or maybe he did want to kill himself, and who knows what people go through in their own life, and they get to a point. I think and I've talked about this before, it's become a thing where people who want to end their own life, they want to do it in a way where they get recognized, and they do it in a way where it gets in the news. Mm-hmm. Because if you just do it at home, nobody's going to know about you. Or think about, like, your mom had a neighbor that took his own life last year. Mm-hmm. Remember, he went in his backyard and shot himself.
Someone down the street.
And he was sad, but it didn't make the news. But if he would have gone to somewhere and killed a bunch of people,
he
then,
had inoperative cancer.
Yeah,
and he was going through a lot of treatment, and it was like torture on him, and he couldn't take it
awful.
anymore.
We have a friend who's dealing with cancer, and she's a real trooper, and she's just going through it, and it's tough. But these are people that are obviously very selfish, narcissistic.
You know what I don't get about? I really don't understand this Elon Musk hate. That the left don't like rich people, but Elon Musk was a Democrat until after Butler, and that's when he turned around.
Maybe that's why. Maybe it's.
Well, one of the big things is that he's done is that the liberals love is
because he's all buddied with Trump. They can't stand it.
They switch on a dime. Elon Musk has made EVs cool, right? They loved him with the electric vehicles, with the Teslas. And then and he comes out in favor of Trump after Trump got shot, because he was a Democrat before Trump got shot.
Well, plus with his son becoming trans.
Yeah, that didn't help either, that really was an eye-opener.
There's a lot of guilt, and he's talked about it, where he said he got sucked into that ideology and allowed his son to have hormones, and he deeply, deeply regrets it. And he said that his son is dead now. That his son is a girl now. His son no longer exists.
That's crazy.
I don't think they talk at all anymore. His older son, he's like 18. And
I bet his son takes that Elon money, though.
Yeah,
I bet he may not talk to his dad, but he wants some of that money. The thing about that, though, you look at the left. Here you got a guy who's a lifelong Democrat. He made mainstream electric vehicles, and the Tesla, I wouldn't get one, and I thought about getting one. Okay, some of the Teslas are a lot less expensive than other new regular cars, and I didn't. What stopped me from getting the Tesla was
I don't think they're that great.
I thought it might be something. I don't know. I wasn't seriously considering it. I mean, it had crossed my mind because at our local mall, they had a Tesla dealership inside the mall. And I looked at the SUV and a couple of them.
That's what my sister has.
They seem pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we had a hurricane hit the Gulf Coast of Florida. And with hurricanes, there's a lot of flooding. And it corrodes the batteries, and a lot of these Teslas were combusting in the flames in garages and sometimes with people in them.
I don't think it's a good car to have here in Florida.
So I'm like,
there's too much flooding.
There's no way that I'd get something like that because of the rains and the flooding, But the liberals have been pushing him and been so excited about him for years because of the Tesla, but now he's the devil.
Because he's with Trump.
All right, now you just handed me this update, so I've not read this. This is
that was written that's 30 minutes ago.
It looks like NBC News, okay, from New Orleans. The New Year's Day truck attack. Oh my goodness, it's a truck attack? I thought it was an Islamic terrorist attack by an ISIS guy.
No.
Now it's a truck attack.
Yes.
Is it one of those self-driving trucks?
Exactly, that's right.
The New Year's Day truck attack. Is that real? Is this Babylon Bee? Is this real? It is. No, this is real. This is real. This is insane. The New Year's Day truck attack. I guess 9/11, we were attacked by airplanes. The airplane attack.
Yes.
The New Year's Day truck attack that killed 14 people and wounded dozens of others appears to have been the act of a lone wolf and unrelated to the truck blast in Las Vegas, authorities said. Give me a break.
They know that already. It's been less than 24 hours.
And this other thing they keep saying, inspired by ISIS. They don't want to say he's ISIS, inspired by ISIS. First of all, how do they determine that so quickly? Oh, this isn't ISIS. He just likes them. He thinks they're cool. He's been inspired.
They just lie to you. Yeah. They just come out and say it.
The driver of the driver in the attack was fatally shot by police at the scene. Law enforcement officials were following up on more than 400 tips. The investigation indicated he acted alone, although a day earlier, FBI special agent, that's the nose ring girl, said authorities did not believe he was solely responsible.
Well, see, they changed that story, didn't they?
Yeah, they have some videos. The videos indicate Jabbar, that's the New Orleans. I guess I guess the truck took control of him and the gun too, right? Who lived in Houston, had initially planned on harming family and friends, but instead decided on an attack that would focus news coverage on the war between believers and disbelievers. This wasn't.
Yeah, they want to get it in the news. That's why they do it.
This is how bad it is that they're actually saying it was Islamic. I've never seen them say Islamic. They're not saying it, but they're saying that he was attacking non-believers of Islam. Authorities are also investigating the Las Vegas Tesla Cybertruck explosion, and we really don't have anything from that. No. Another thing that's crazy about this, there's obviously a cover-up.
Yeah.
They're doing a cover-up less than 3 weeks before President Trump comes back into office, right? So you would have to be out of your mind if you're these people to do a cover-up less than 3 weeks before Trump's coming in with Kash Patel and is going to open up the books to everything, because you could – maybe they're just arrogant, but they could be exposed as meddling in their own investigation.
I don't think they care. I think that
they're fearless.
Yeah.
But this thing about a truck attack, this is in the Washington Post headline story, truck rams New Orleans crowd. That was the headline in the Washington Post. Truck rams New Orleans crowd.
Yeah, no mention of the driver.
They've taken the driver out. It's like an out of control self-driving vehicle.
Well, that's what I worry about with these self-driving vehicles now is somebody using them, programming them to do something. I don't know if they could, though. There might be I think they would obey the traffic laws. I don't know. You can get one to go 100 miles an hour in a like.
Please, anything that can be programmed can be changed to do anything. I wouldn't put anything past these people. It is so bizarre to me the way the left operate. I was talking today and
I don't understand them.
I got some calls this morning from some liberals, and I've been through so many news cycles with terrorist attacks over the years that I've been broadcasting. It's always the same story with the left on how they handle this. After 9/11, they were saying, "What did we do?" Meaning the United States. What did we do that drove them to fly planes in the buildings?
What is that about?
Remember that?
What is that? That white liberal guilt?
Liberals are mental patients. That's what it's about.
That's true.
They always side against the victims, and they view the aggressors as victims. And then they got this other thing that's insane to me, right? They keep saying that this makes it okay. Oh, these are homegrown terrorists. Oh, okay, they're just homegrown. Have you noticed how they say that? It's like it's almost like it's okay because they're Americans. They keep saying, well, these are homegrown terrorists. Oh, okay. I guess that makes it okay. What? I don't hear them saying that about these J6ers they keep in prison. Oh, those are just homegrown people. That's okay. But with these guys, this homegrown thing, it kind of like cancels out. The thing is, they hate Trump. They hate everybody around Trump. And I don't know why they blame New Orleans, but the Cybertruck and Trump Tower, they feel it's okay. It's like these are like soft target. It's like a soft target to them. It's like Elon, the media and the left think that Elon and Trump brought this upon themselves.
Yeah, they bought their tickets.
That's right. It's like a woman gets raped and they say, well, she was wearing a miniskirt and she was looking hot. It's her fault.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
Ted Bundy. She got in my car.
It's victim blaming.
Yeah.
They blame the victims over and over again. Pretty bad. But think about what it would be like if Kamala had won. And we had these attacks. I don't know if the attacks would have happened. The Cybertruck one may not have. That was, but the other one may have. Could you imagine we have an incident like this, and we don't have Trump coming back?
How long do you think it'll take Trump and Homan to really get this border and this stuff on the FBI under control? Get all this under control.
I think Trump is going to order the Army Corps of Engineers to finish the wall. And they're going to go to federal court and they're going to get some Obama judge or Biden judge or Clinton judge to say, stop it. He's not going to do it. He'll appeal it and keep doing it.
Yeah, what are they going to do? He's going to keep going.
That's just an order. And the roundups with the deportation, since they're starting with criminals, that'll be easy. He'll order the Border Patrol, ICE, federal agencies to do it, and they'll do it. That'll happen. That'll happen quick.
And what about these
that could happen.
Terrorist cells that could be happening.
Well,
in this
the problem
country.
is we got this nose ring girl that's in charge of that. The part of the FBI that investigates these things. That's what I was telling you.
Is she in charge of that area or the whole? Kash Patel can fire her
and replace her with who? And he's not going to be
somebody else.
He's not going to be FBI director on day one.
Yeah, but when he is,
oh yeah, she's in trouble.
He could get rid of her.
When I saw her at the press conference yesterday, on her jacket it said BAU, and I know the BAU because that's the unit on the TV show Criminal Minds. And the Criminal Minds used to be made.
Yeah.
And Criminal Minds, that show's been on forever. And the last 2 seasons, by the way, are on the Paramount app, and it's more R-rated than the TV version because it's just on the app.
What do you mean by R-rated?
It's
more violent.
Not violent, but it's just more. It's not CBS TV. It's not broadcast TV, so it's more. It's good, especially the season before last.
Is it more sexual, more violent?
Yeah, it's just better.
Words.
There's curse words. It's just better. They had a storyline.
I don't like that show. It gives me nightmares.
And they've done 2 or 3 seasons that's just on the Paramount app. They did one storyline. The first season they did just on the app, right? It was about what serial killers did during the lockdowns in 2020.
Yeah, it's clever.
And it was so clever because everybody was locked down. They couldn't find people to kill.
Yeah, crime was way down.
And this whole thing is about how these serial killers on the dark web put together a network. And then when everything was lifted, it's really good. You guys should see. But anyway, the BAU is what this woman with the nose ring is from because it was on her jacket. I watched Criminal Minds. I thought I didn't know the BAU was real. I thought it was a fictional thing for Criminal Minds, but I would think that would be like some elite group, not a joke. Right? I mean, that's just the way it is.
We are a joke.
Yeah. Listen, we're going to take a quick break, and I want to tell you guys about Dr. Appleton and the laser away pain treatment. His laser away pain treatment is so absolutely amazing. It works. It is 100% painless. I was talking to Dr. Appleton the other day, and we have had listeners come to Florida to see Dr. Appleton from all over the United States. And somebody said to me on YouTube the other day, I was watching on YouTube, is Dr. Appleton that good? Yes, he is. When you're in pain, because I've been there multiple times, and you want relief. I had pain so bad, my knee pain, which was the first pain he rid me of. Kathy will tell you, this is something that would flare up on me regularly for years, and sometimes the pain was so bad I just wanted to go to sleep. I just wanted to go to sleep. It
yeah,
hurt
you've
so
had that
bad.
since before I even met you.
I don't have it anymore. Dr. Appleton was the first thing he treated me for. It was about 2.5 years ago. He rid me of pain in my knee. It has not returned. And, with the laser wave pain treatment, there's no drugs, right? No drug. Drugs just mask the pain. Plus, if you're taking a prescription, they can be addictive. There's no drugs, no shots, no injections. It's completely painless. There's no downtime. And, of course, it works. And I'm here to tell you, he has rid me of pain 6 times. Isn't that something? And I've talked to so many of our listeners who have gone to see Dr. Appleton, and they're just amazed. I've had listeners call him a miracle worker. Other listeners have told me they call him a magician.
And he seems like such a nice person too. Yeah, and I found out when I was talking to Dr. Appleton the other day, before he was a doctor, he was a physical therapist. Because that's perfect. Yeah, and I was telling him, I said, you just have a way of finding where the pain, and he's got a lot of experience before he was even a doctor, so he's able to isolate where the pain is and treat that. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain. His number is 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. All right, we'll take a quick break and be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Attention all cat and dog parents. Does your furry family member deserve the very best? Of course they do. And that's what you will find with Chef Kitty Food and Treats, the brand that brings gourmet joy to your pet's taste buds. Pets aren't just companions, they're our family. And just like family, they deserve top-notch care. That's why Chef Kitty cooks up nutritious, all-natural treats and meals with high-quality ingredients from trusted farms and fisheries. Cage-free chicken that's rich in protein and vitamins, without a trace of grain, preservatives, additives, colorants, or GMOs. Everything Chef Kitty makes is human-grade quality, crafted to perfection to keep your pets healthy and happy. Chef Kitty's best sellers include freeze-dried chicken treats and waffle treats, bursting with natural flavors and made right here in the USA. It's not just a treat, it's love and nutrition in each and every bite. Visit chef-kitty.com and discover the secret to making your pet's tails wag with delight. chef-kitty.com, where your pet's happiness and health come first. chef-kitty.com. Are you ready to transform your life? Do you want to achieve your dreams and goals? Then you need A Champion's Mindset, the inspiring and transformative book from author Chad George. In this book, the author shares his personal journey of building the fighter within and developing the mindset of a champion. He shows readers how you can develop the same resilience, perseverance, and self-belief to overcome any obstacle. Whether you're facing bullies, self-doubt, failure, or setbacks, author Chad George's story will inspire you to keep pushing forward. A Champion's Mindset is not just for fighters, but for anyone who wants to succeed in life. The lessons shared can be applied to any aspect of life, from personal relationships to career goals. A Champion's Mindset is a powerful reminder that being a champion is a choice, and with the right mindset, you can accomplish anything. Order your copy today on Amazon and start your journey towards transformation and success. A Champion's Mindset from author Chad George. Available on Amazon. Each and every day is a precious gift, but how often do we let moments slip by, overshadowed by the chaos of our lives? From author Spike Humor comes a guided spiritual devotional with 365 daily meditations of grace, gratitude, and hope. The Gift of This Day, available on Amazon. Imagine this. You wake up each morning with a heart filled with gratitude and a sense of purpose that guides you through the challenges you face that day. With The Gift of This Day, you'll learn to embrace each day as the sacred blessing it truly is. Through daily reflections, The Gift of This Day inspires gratitude, strengthens your resilience, and deepens your spiritual connection. It'll help you transform those ordinary moments into extraordinary blessings. Don't let a single day go uncelebrated. Start your journey of grace and gratitude right now with The Gift of This Day, available on Amazon. This devotional also makes a great gift. Order your copy right now and make today and every day a gift to cherish. The Gift of This Day from author Spike Humor on Amazon. Are you ready to simplify your business life and turn your daily chaos into clarity? You can do just that and more with Mish Agency, the people-first project management and event coordination boutique that will transform your visions into impactful experiences. Whether you're a tech startup, a fashion brand, marketing agency, or high-profile professional, Mish Agency specializes in tailored solutions designed just for you. When it comes to project management, they'll bring clarity, organization, and expert guidance to help you achieve your goals. Streamline your workflows, boost productivity, and enhance collaboration. They'll turn your events into flawless, memorable experiences. You'll also have elite support from business operations to personal coordination. Founded by Michelle, a seasoned expert with over a decade of experience, Mish Agency values genuine partnerships, creating solutions that fit your needs and will help you grow. What are you waiting for? Start with a complimentary consultation and get a tailored proposal to simplify your life, your business, and amplify your success. Mish Agency, where organizing chaos is an art. Schedule your consultation online at mishagency.com. That's mishagency.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. Okay, we got some information on the Cybertruck guy. This just broke as we were talking. He committed suicide before the explosion. There was a gunshot wound to the head. The gun was found at his feet. Yesterday, they were saying that there was some type of remote detonation of the explosive. So I don't know if it was somebody outside did it after he did that, or I don't know. We don't have information.
Or the gunshot could have set it off.
Yeah, we don't know. And then there's...
Crazy.
I was just reading this. I saw this on X, okay? And I'm not saying that this is true, but this is just what's being reported right now. Remember we were talking earlier in the show about how the media form these narratives. And, combating liberal media bias is so important. Because I studied history in college and everything else. In American history, so much of our history is documented through our newspapers. You have no idea. A lot of it, because the newspapers have always been they used to call themselves Republican or Democrat, right? In Florida, our capital is Tallahassee. The
Tallahassee Democrat.
The newspaper is called the Tallahassee Democrat. Yeah.
Yep.
They don't do that so much anymore. But newspapers, and now it's morphed into other things, obviously. But the mainstream news is where history is documented. And that's one of the reasons it's so important to expose their bias. Another thing, when it comes to newspapers, 90% of the people that read the news, and when I say newspapers, I'm referring to online things too, okay? I'm not talking about print newspapers. I mean, when's the last time you read one of those? You read the news online. So when I say the news or newspapers, I'm talking about online. 90% of people that read the news, even online, only read the headlines. Okay? Maybe even more than 90%, that's all they read. So the headlines, say, this is the headline that just dropped on the Cybertruck guy. Las Vegas bomber was a Rambo-type Trump supporter, source says.
Whatever.
Yeah, let me read what they have here.
I don't believe that for a
No,
second.
I don't either. His wife was a rabid anti-Trump person for years. So, the Army veteran,
why would he blow himself up in a Tesla? That's so stupid. They really think people are dumb. They really do.
This guy here could turn out to be just a hardcore terrorist, or it could turn out that he was forced to do it, like that. Remember that pizza delivery guy years ago? There's always been a mystery around that. I'm not saying we don't know, okay? But I do know that this headline is BS. This is the headline, and this is circulating all over the news right now, okay?
Insane. Nobody believes that.
Las Vegas bomber was a Rambo-type Trump supporter, sources say. Someone that's a hardcore Trump supporter, obviously there's some Trump supporters, because we've been talking about it the last week, don't like Elon Musk. but they love President Trump, and they wouldn't disrespect President Trump by setting a bomb off in front of one of his buildings.
Absolutely
not.
The
Army veteran, this is what the story says. The Army veteran.
The source to me sounds like it's probably the feds.
It's his uncle, they say. The Army veteran who blew up a Cybertruck packed with explosives outside Donald Trump's Las Vegas hotel was a big supporter of the president-elect, insiders have claimed.
No.
A senior law enforcement official told the Daily Beast that his loved ones were stunned by the news and believed he was a registered Republican. Officials said at a press conference today they're still searching for a motive, with the suspected bomber's uncle telling The Independent he was 100% patriot. He was a Rambo type, for a lack of a better word, his uncle said.
Whatever that means.
Mm-hmm. He used to have all this patriotic stuff on Facebook. He was 100% loving the country. He loved Trump. And he was always a very, very patriotic soldier, a patriotic American.
Well, then that tells me if that's true.
It's one of the reasons he was in the Special Forces, they said.
Then that something happened and that flipped him.
Yeah.
Or I don't think it was he was forced to do it, but something happened that flipped him.
He was
because if you were a Trump
radicalized.
supporter, if you were a Trump supporter, you wouldn't do that. Obviously,
no.
Trump supporters don't do that.
No.
And you wouldn't do it in front of Trump Tower. What would be the point?
Yeah, he could have blown that Cybertruck up anywhere. You know, it's that to me is so insulting. Now, it's possible that he was a Trump supporter in the past and flipped.
Yeah.
It's possible that he was pretending to be a Trump supporter because his army buddies were too. You know, you never know with people. You never know. But the idea that they're trying to turn this guy into a MAGA guy is insane to me. You know, I got a call today from someone on the morning show, and they asked me the most common question that liberals ask me. Okay, because you know, I had one of my "Make America Great Again" hats on, and he says, "Is that Make America Great Again hat made in China?" And I usually don't respond to that because I've been asked that question so many times.
Right.
It's exhausting. And but I did today. Well, first I took the hat off and showed everybody on camera on YouTube, made in the USA. Okay. But I said to the guy, I said, "Is the phone you're calling me on made in China?" You know what I mean? Or Japan or Korea?
Yeah.
You know, it's so bizarre how the left have these talking points. And when they're around their liberal friends, they're yucking it up with their talking points, and they think they're so brilliant and so sharp.
Yep.
The MAGA hats that Trump sells are made in the United States, but if they were made in China, so what? You know, what's happened here is the politicians prior to Trump have been selling this country out for decades. They've driven American manufacturing to China, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, and all over the place, okay? And that's just the way it is. And somehow liberals, you know, sometimes when I'm on...
Well, they're trying to make you look like a hypocrite.
So, yeah, like sometimes when I'm on YouTube Live, when I'm doing a live stream on YouTube, someone will say, I get that question. It's the most often asked question that liberals ask me, is that MAGA hat made in China? And sometimes I show, I don't answer the question most of the time. I just ignore it because I mean, how many times can I answer it? But sometimes I'll say, is the computer, no, it's made in the United States, but what about the computer you're watching me on YouTube on? Is that made in the United States? You know what I mean? They've decided on their talking point that if you have something made outside of the United States, that you're some kind of traitor. I would like to be able to buy everything American, but you can't. It's impossible. You know, it is impossible. And it's so. And when I point this out to them, they never considered it before. They usually feel stupid when I feed it back. Is the computer you're watching me on made in China? Is it made in the United States? They never really considered
your television?
It. Yeah,
what
the
about
TV,
your coffee maker? I mean, what about
your car? Where was it
half
made?
the things
Japan, Korea,
that you use?
Yeah, you know, we would like to buy everything in America, but they've driven manufacturing elsewhere, and we want to bring it back here. You know, even a lot of cars that, you know, now sometimes like some Toyotas and things, they make the parts in Japan, but they're assembled in America. Sometimes if you look under the hood of your car, you can see sometimes if you look for it where it's been assembled, right? And I would love to own everything that was made in America, built and manufactured by Americans, but that's just not possible. And this idea that you're some kind of hypocrite if you have something made in China, it cracks me up. And when I said that to this guy today, is the phone you're talking to me on made in China, Japan, where's it, Korea? And then he used some profanity. And I had to hang up on him, and because he was embarrassed. Yeah. He realized, everything I have is made in China.
Exactly.
That's just the way it is. I want to mention I did my first radio show from the home studio this week, and I had to go to the radio station today because I had a meeting there. I may have to go there tomorrow, but we got the kinks worked out, and I've done maybe 4 or 5 dry runs. And I had a little bit, the first time I used the new phone system, I had a technical glitch. I worked that out. And I knew there would be it'd get glitchy when I brought Steve in on it, Steve Kane, and it did. And then we got that worked out. So I got to tell you, Kathy, that yesterday I did the radio show from home. Today I did it from the radio station. Okay. And it took me, with no traffic on the road, 1 hour to get to the radio station this morning. It took me just over 2 hours to get home from the radio station today. And yesterday was one of the most productive days I've had in years when I had to work, because I got up.
And you felt more relaxed.
Yeah. I got up I usually get up at 1:30 in the morning. When I go to the radio station, I set my alarm for 1:30 a.m. I always wake up before. Yesterday, because I was doing the show from home, I slept until 2 a.m. But I did the show. I did the radio show, and the show was over. I got so much done yesterday. It was my most productive work day.
You're saving 3 hours from driving.
Exhausting driving. And I talked about this. Kathy and I did a Patreon podcast the other day, and if you're a Patreon supporter, listen to that. It was about 50 minutes to an hour long podcast just for Patreon supporters. But there's a couple things we mentioned on that podcast I want to mention here. One of them was this. I was at the doctor a few weeks ago, and the doctor. Every time I go to the doctor, I got somewhere else I got to be. And the doctor said, every time you come to the office, you're halfway out the door before I even come in. And it's usually the other way around for doctors, right? You go to your doctor and they're halfway out the door. They're never fully in the exam room half the time. You know what I mean with doctors? Because they got all these patients lined up. And the doctor was saying, you're the opposite. You're the one out the door. And I said, well, I have a meeting, and it's an hour away. And they told me that you are running yourself too hard. You're getting by now, but it's going to catch up to you.
I've been telling you
it's going to catch up to you. And what they mean by that is they're like, I'm going to drop dead with a heart attack, I guess. That's how I took it. And you and our daughter Emily have been telling me to try to work from home, doing the radio show from home. And I've been very resistant to do it. And then, of course, I did it for the first time, and it was the most productive day I have ever had. And I worked all day yesterday after, but I was more productive with my work because I didn't have that tiring drive. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to be at the radio station a couple days a week. I'll be at home a couple days a week. The days will rotate, and because sometimes I have to go to the radio station to do things. And I was so glad that Steve, when I brought it up to Steve, he's like, I don't know why you haven't been doing this forever. All right, you should have been doing this all along. Exactly. He says the drive will kill you. He says I've been there. I've had to do that drive.
Yeah.
Or it'll kill you. No, you got to. So that's great. So I like doing it, and I'll continue to do that. One last thing I want to say before we leave, just briefly. Kathy and I talked about this in detail on our Patreon podcast, which is available to Patreon supporters on our Patreon page right now. The thing with Elon Musk and Trump and this bond they have, okay? And I was explaining because of the three most famous men in the world are Putin, Trump, and Elon Musk, I believe. Putin, Trump, and Elon Musk are the three famous men on the planet, I would think. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Trump, Putin, and Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the only person around Trump, because he's the richest man in the world. he's the only Trump respects him because of his business success, but him landing that rocket on the launch pad just blows Trump away. Blows me away. That never gets old. I've watched that so many times. It's amazing. Elon Musk is the only person around Trump that doesn't need or want something from Trump.
Right.
And he is the only person that Trump has around him as an advisor or staff, whatever, who Trump views as his equal. He views him as his equal. And I'm hoping that our MAGA brothers and sisters who have been going after Elon Musk back off on that, because what's happened now...
They're not going to divide those two.
No. Now
anybody who wants to is just, they're doing it out of pure jealousy and bitterness.
Yeah. Now, as of the time that we're speaking right now, things could change in 2 minutes. As soon as I hit stop on the podcast, this could change. But as of right now, President Trump and Elon Musk have not spoken together about this incident. But I bet you that this Tesla truck explosion has brought Trump and Elon Musk even closer together because of the assassination attempts on Trump getting shot, and blowing up the Cybertruck in front of Trump Tower was a threat made to Elon Musk by forces that we're not sure who they are yet. I don't think it was just some guy from Colorado who was on leave from the Army, okay? So what they've done is push them closer together. The bond between Trump and Elon Musk will be stronger after this incident, I believe. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, he's always at his side. He's always, they had video from the New Year's party, and they were sitting together. I wonder if it bothers JD at all that
like he's out of the loop a little.
Well, he was at Mar-a-Lago too, but he's not like typically you would see the vice president sitting there, but maybe that's done by design. Maybe I'm sure Trump is not ignoring him or anything or treating JD badly. That's not what I'm saying.
It could just be the pictures people, because he's so famous, Elon, people are taking more pictures.
But I wonder if it's like, if there's a little bit that irks JD.
That he's in his spot?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Well, did you see at the New Year's party, Elon Musk and Trump were doing the Trump dance standing next to each other, and Melania was next to Trump doing it. I've never seen her dance before.
You know, I know, and it's nice to see. I have never seen Trump and Melania so affectionate with each other as I did at the event. Like, they both had their arms. She's usually a little, like, icy in public with the public affection, which could just be her upbringing. But they had their arms around each other. They were kissing, and they were very affectionate, looked very happy together. It was nice. I'm not saying they ever had problems, but it's nice for people to see that, for them to be open. I didn't see Bear in there. I'm sure he was there, but Don Jr. was there with his new girlfriend. Kim Guilfoyle's obviously was sent away.
Ambassador to Greece.
I think it reminds me of that scene in broadcast news when Holly Hunter was jealous of the one girl and they sent her to Siberia or something. Alaska.
Cover a serial killer in Alaska.
To get her away from the guy. It kind of reminded me of that.
Have you seen her residence? The ambassador to Greece has a beautiful mansion.
No, I'm not saying she came out of this bad. She came out of this on top, and good for her.
And she'll always be an ambassador now. That's a big deal. It is
a big deal.
When you're an ambassador, and
she's got to be Greek, I'm assuming.
I don't know, but that's a prime ambassadorship to Greece. That's a cool one to have. It's
it's like beautiful there.
Kind of like being the ambassador to Italy. It's a big deal. It's not like ambassador to some country you've never heard of or can't find on a map. She's got a beautiful mansion. It's a pretty big deal. And when I've met a couple of ambassadors. An ambassador is a rank. People don't realize that. It's a rank in the diplomatic service. And it's a rank that they always carry. It's a big deal. It's like being a general.
I think, but I just think it's kind of funny.
Oh yeah,
that
sent her away.
If her and Don Jr. had stayed together, obviously this would not have happened.
No, like bought her off.
But I don't know if they bought her off or if Don Jr. wanted her out of the country, like away from his new main squeeze.
It keeps her away from the paparazzi. That would be all over Kim
keeps her out of his life, out of his hair.
Kim Guilfoyle would have been a good press secretary, though.
Yeah.
She'd have been really good at that. Remember, she was on the 5 and everything.
I like her.
I do
but
too.
She needs a makeover. Those Hervé dresses are so old. They're so not trendy.
I don't know what that
now.
is.
Those are those tight dresses that look like like you've been wrapped like a mummy. And they were really big like 10 years ago. They're no longer in fashion, but she continues to wear them in these tight dresses. And her hair is horrible. Her makeup, she needs, she's a pretty lady. I like her, but she needs a makeover. She has got her look is just, it's, it's like these women that, it's like June Allison had the same hairdo when she was in her 80s as she had when she was in her 30s. It's move on.
A lot of celebrities do that so that they're recognized.
Lisa Rinna. Same hairdo.
Phil Donahue.
I mean, it's just...
But Kim Guilfoyle bought a mansion right next door to Don Jr.'s mansion here in Florida. I wonder if she's going to sell it. Who wants to live next to their ex?
Well, that's why I think Trump...
Would you want to live next to my ex-girlfriend?
That's why I think part of the reason Trump made her an ambassador was to get her out of the country, is what I'm saying, and get her away from Don's new squeeze. Man.
Well, let me talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing.
I mean, it's just convenient, that he could do that.
We found Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing through Steve Kane. Steve Kane, he had a leak. He had a wet spot on his ceiling, and he ignored it.
Oh yeah,
and before you knew it, he had wet spots all over his ceilings. And when you see a wet spot on your ceiling, that means you've got a leak in your roof. Okay, and
you do not want to ignore that.
And Steve ignored it, and he had these wet spots all over his ceiling. And not only did he need a new roof, he had so much water damage in his home because he ignored that wet spot on the ceiling. And I remember when Tom Laporta first went to Steve's house to inspect the damage, he called me. He says he says the drywall's infected with black mold. I could smell it when I went out. I said, I smelled it when I went over there too, but I didn't say anything. I didn't want to be rude. And he says they don't even smell it because when you have mold growing in your house, it happens so slowly. You're used to it and you don't smell it. The residents don't smell it. I did not know that. So Steve had to not only get a new roof, he had to get 40% of the drywall in his home replaced because it had been damaged with water and had the deadly black mold in it. He had a termite infestation through his whole home because the moisture from the leaks in the roof was a breeding ground for termites, so they were eating his house. And he had to get a major renovate. He almost got a new house rebuilt practically. But if you have a wet spot on your ceiling, you do have a leak in your roof, you want to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. If you're in the state of Florida, he can help you. He works on every type of structure, residential, commercial, and municipal. He can handle a small residential home, but he can handle the job of any size too. If you have a condo or apartment complex that has over 200 buildings, he can handle the job that size. He does great work. He's a good MAGA guy. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need. If you need just a simple repair, he'll do it. And he gives our listeners his cell phone number. Now, this number is not, I'm going to give you his website, which is laportaroofing.com. His cell phone's not on the website. That's the office number. So you can call or text him directly on his cell phone and get the owner of the company right on the phone and get things moving. Okay, so you can go to the website and call that number, but your best bet would be to call him on his cell phone or text him. You'll get things moving a lot faster, and he always takes extra good care of our listeners. And you can. We're in South Florida. We have a beautiful day here in Florida. So Kathy and I are on our back porch podcasting, and one of our neighbors' car alarms just went off. Car alarms, Kathy, are like the most useless thing. Who pays attention to them?
Well, it got us to stop.
Yeah, but
we don't run over there to see what's happening.
No one's like, oh my goodness, someone's jacking that car. Everyone's like, oh, what an annoyance, Anyway, his cell phone number is 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, laportaroofing.com. Make sure you tell them that Brian Craig sent you. All right, we're out of time for today. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and